Srivastava, your host, and today we have with us Mr. Rohit Pathak. He is the President, Indian Electrical Equipment Manufacturers Association, and also CEO of Birla Copper. Welcome to show, Mr. Pathak.
Thank you, Vikas. Pleasure
Yeah.
to be here.
We are aware that next week the Electrama event is going to happen, which is one of the major consumer of copper also, copper business.
Yes.
So just wanted to have your view on like how do you see this event to unfold,
Sure.
What kind of your expectations are there
Sure.
from the
So, just to give you a context, Electrama is the showcase event of EMA. Electrama is globally the largest electrical and allied electronic exhibition that we have. It's the largest. It's spread across over 100,000 square meters. We have 1,000 plus exhibitors from not just India but also globally who are showcasing their latest technologies and equipment. So this is a one-place shop where you can see everything connected to electrical and allied electronics. So all the control panels and automation systems that go with any electrical system. You can see all that under one roof. It's not just an exhibition, but around that we have quite a large number of co-located events. So we have a World Utility Summit where utility leaders from world over come and they'll be sharing what's latest happening and discuss some of the broader policy areas around how do you develop that system. We have a conference on new technologies called eTech Next, where the focus this year is around new green energies, which is obviously a priority for the sector and the country, and also on e-mobility, which is a big focus area for everyone. We also have a large buyer-seller interaction organized through the platform. So we expect over 15,000 B2B meetings to happen, both with international buyers. So buyers from over 700 buyers are coming from several countries to meet our exhibitors and do deals for what they need for their applications. And 300 plus buyers from government utilities in India from the states, as well as private large buyers are also coming to the exhibition. So in the last edition, we did deals closer to $6 billion of buy sell that happened. This year, I think we should be able to cross that. Apart from this, this year for the first time, and normally we associate startup with technology or with e-commerce and those areas. But actually as EMA, we have run a startup competition focused around new green energies, around e-mobility and smart cooling, which is a very important energy consumer in the country, where close to 100 startups from India had applied. The top 12 startups we have given space to them to showcase their technologies at Electrama, and we'll award the top 3 there at Electrama. So we also have a startup competition called Electraverse Spark, which is a launch. This will be a regular affair that we will do to encourage the startup ecosystem in the country in this space. Apart from that, we have quite a few eminent leaders who are coming and going to interact with the exhibitors and the larger EMA fraternity who will all be there. We expect close to 3 to 4 lakh visitors coming to the exhibition over the 5 days that we have. So 18th to 22nd of Feb at IEML in Noida, we will have this exhibition.
So one thing I wanted to understand, one is like it's very clear that electrical equipment segment is the major consumer of copper.
Yes.
But apart from that, which are the other sectors which consume and where you see the probable demand to come from, in coming future?
So, I think maybe let me answer that question in a little elaborate manner. See, if you look at how our lifestyles are changing, if you talk about the priorities for India as a country, there are 2 or 3 big themes. One is we are going to urbanize. Second, we are going to digitalize the economy. And third, we want to go green, right? If you look at all these 3, they will require a huge amount of electrical and electronics, right? Whether it's electrical systems, whether it's e-mobility, whether it's railway electrification, almost all areas, whether it's your mobile phone or your computers, everything requires electrical connections inside. The content, for example, if you look at the electrical content in an electric car versus a normal car is significantly higher. The same now rolls down into copper, right? If you want to digitalize the economy, you want to green the economy, copper is a critical metal. So, for example, if you look at a EV, it requires 3 to 4 times the amount of copper a normal four-wheeler requires. You look at solar energy, solar power. You look at wind power. A wind power system or a solar power system requires 4 to 8x the amount of copper as compared to a normal thermal plant, right? You look at data storage, right, and data centers that are coming up. Huge amount of copper required for the systems around. So I think to me, the copper intensity, so electrical intensity and copper intensity go hand in hand. And as we look at the growth in India, this will copper will play a larger role in the growth. From a number perspective, as EMA, we had done a vision last year along with the government as part of the Amrit Kal effort for the next 25 years. And one key enabler of that vision or element of that vision is that our per capita electricity consumption in the country will go up almost 8x from about 1.2 thousand units per capita today to close to 10,000, which is more the global average, which is almost 7 to 8x growth from
over what period?
Over the next 25 years, right? And if that is to happen, electricity consumption is to go over that, you obviously need a lot larger amount of copper to go in. We expect in copper, the copper demand in India to increase by at least 4 to 5 times in this 25 years.
4 to 5 times.
Yes.
And if you can quantify in terms of value, like
so today, India, both from the organized plus secondary sector, we use about 1 million tons of copper, which is at a $10,000 price, it's about $10 billion worth of copper that India uses. And this will grow at least 4 to 5 times, from 40 to 50 billion if the price remains at $10,000 or so. Okay.
And in terms of greening the infrastructure,
yes,
what is the role that copper will play, and what exactly you are doing as EMA also and also as Birla Copper, if you can give some perspective.
So, if you look at the stated objectives of the government and the direction we are going to, by 2030, we want 50% of our electricity to come from renewables. In renewables, the larger proportion will remain solar and to some extent wind. And we expect to build close to 500 gigawatts of renewable capacity in the country from somewhere in the mid hundreds today. I think today about 150 gigawatts. We need to go to 500 gigawatts. So I think for this building this structure, a huge amount of electrical systems are required, right? I think the government has come up with very targeted PLI schemes to make these products in India, whether it's solar panels, whether it's the control systems, whether it's the other elements in the transmission system. There's a big focus on making it in India. As that manufacturing happens in India, the demand for ingredients for those manufacturing has also gone up. Copper is a key element, like I said, for each of these systems, and hence the copper demand we expect in the coming years to grow quite rapidly. So I think, like I said, the electrical demand and the domestic manufacturing picking up will pull the copper requirement in the country, and hence we are as EMA. My role is to ensure, as an industry, we are building that capacity, and as Hindalco, obviously, we are trying to ensure that as the largest copper player in India, we are building the products that will be required for some of these applications.
Yeah, one is building a product which will help in greening the infrastructure.
Yes.
The other is when copper itself is smelted.
Yes.
So the kind of infrastructure that is required to prepare green copper,
Yes.
just as we are preparing other elements,
Yes. Yes.
So what exactly is being done on the industry side to green the copper industry?
So, compared to many other metals, copper has a much lower footprint of carbon because it's actually the copper smelting is an exothermic reaction. So, once you get the reaction going, it actually generates the heat to keep the smelter running. So, the energy consumption is low. One of the things which we are doing consciously, not just for copper but also for aluminum at Hindalco, is moving our purchase to a lot of green energy. So, for example, at copper, we are just commissioning a 20 megawatt solar wind hybrid capacity, which will supply to our plant. Right. So we have taken some of those efforts. We have signed up with GIDC for a desal water use from a water perspective. We are investing quite heavily into upgrading our environmental performance to ensure that we keep improving our standards of the running of the plant from that angle. So I think copper is a complex material to handle, and as the leader in that, we are working on how do we make it more and more environment friendly from all angles, and not just emissions, but actually not just power, but the whole holistical sustainable development.
So, what is the time frame that you all have kept for going net zero?
So, I think overall as a group, we have a plan of net zero. As you know, in India, the net zero target is 2070.
Yeah.
As we grow, we will go in sync with that. I think as Hindalco, we will separately, we'll put out what we are going to do. I would say you can look it up there.
Okay. And also, can you give some perspective on pricing for copper going ahead, and what's the kind of demand you see for copper in, say, next financial year?
So I think, look, the copper demand in India is increasing. I think this year we have got back to pre-COVID levels of demand. Demand had gone down in the last couple of years when COVID happened, and now it's come back to, I think, where it was just before COVID. I do feel in the coming year it will grow a good 5-6%, maybe even longer. It depends a little bit on how much of the manufacturing, like I said, happens in India. From a pricing perspective, copper follows the global LME. So it's a London Metal Exchange declared price, which changes on a global. It's sort of a global index, which changes throughout the day, throughout the year, basis demand supply. So in India, the same LME is followed. We as a copper business are a custom smelter. Because there's not enough copper ore in the country, so copper is imported in the ore form from other countries in a concentrate form, and hence the model is a custom smelter where the LME is sort of a pass through. At some extent, we fully hedge back to back because that's not our part of the business. We don't set that price, or we don't influence that price, and we focus on ensuring we process it well. And we run a good, reliable smelter to give products to our customers.
Based on the concentrate, I think you also take out gold and silver from copper.
So gold, silver are also part of what comes in the concentrate, which we again sell as per the normal pricing. All these are global prices, which is followed in India. So we sell at the same prices. We pay for all these metals when we buy the concentrate. And then how efficiently we are able to convert it is where we make the money. But I think to your earlier point, one of the things that we are doing as at Birla Copper is to develop value-added products. So, for example, under the government PLI scheme, we have just announced, we have participated in that PLI to make inner groove tubes for air conditioning, which are currently always imported in the country. And that project we have just started. For railways and railway upgradation, as some of these high-speed rails and come into India, the bullet trains. The wiring they need for their contact and catenary wires is different material. It's a copper alloy which is going to be required, and we are developing that copper alloy in tandem with some of our customers who will make the wires to ensure that that is available in India. Otherwise, so our focus is to make value-added downstream products, which our consumers will require as we go and develop further.
So for that, you have already tied up with the railways for.
Yeah, so it's a railway approved. So our approvals is in the works with the railways. Our product is approved. Now the customer has to approve their contract wires and catenary wires, which will finally be used by railways.
Under the solar PLI, what is the kind of capacity that you will be setting up?
So we are not putting up so we are not putting up solar capacity.
Not solar. Under this PLI scheme, how much?
Oh, that is
sorry,
that is
your,
ACs.
yes,
That is for
ACs.
ACs. So the inner groove tubes for this thing are we are setting up 21 kT of capacity, which is our PLI target. So that's a fairly large. I think we look forward. I think in a year or so we'll have the plant. A year and a half or so we have the plant ready.
For full year this financial year FY23, what was the capex that you all had?
So we have not. Like I said, we have not done any other new project except for the IGT which is happening.
Right.
So for us, the capex is more the routine capex on smelter shutdown and others that we are.
I remember earlier in 2017-18 there was plan to ramp up the capacity to almost double.
So what we have done is we've added downstream capacity. So if you look at the last 5-6 years, we've added 2 rod mills which convert the copper cathode into copper rod, which is what the end consumer likes to use. So the wire makers and the winding wire makers, they use copper rods and not cathodes. So we have actually added almost 400 kT of copper rod capacity in the last 5-6 years. So one was put up in 2018, and one mill we acquired last year, which was announced in the market, and now it's running. That's also in Gujarat in Birla.
So out of Gujarat, you are not looking at other locations where you might set up new capacity?
We keep evaluating. I think as the demand progresses, we will look at what and where expansions need to be done. But that is for at the Hindalco board level, they will communicate.
Thank you very much, sir, for your spending time to speak to us.
Thank you, Vikas, and look forward to you joining us at Elecrama. Like I said, Elecrama is the biggest showcase in the world for this industry, and this time the Honorable Minister for Power, Mr. R.K. Singh, is our chief patron. He is going to be there and spending time with us. So we look forward to welcoming you there.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.